Hey, welcome back. Another session of Three Ball Walk. Bob, Eddie, Julio.
What's up?
Talking your favorite sport, baseball.
We're here.
You know, kind of interesting. You were right last week. You said when they said when they had the NBA game starts in 7 hours, 12 minutes, and 33 seconds.
Yep.
And then so we wouldn't accidentally.
You said
miss the
Super
start.
Bowl.
Yep.
I said the Super Bowl.
I told you no.
Yep.
And they went with first day of but you know what?
College football kickoff.
But it very poor.
75
they did
days.
It 75 days, but on Sunday I didn't see 74 days.
No.
Yesterday I didn't see 73 days.
Nope.
So the countdown is not on.
No, it was just 1 day countdown.
It was a one-day
One-day
countdown.
countdown.
I'm talking a little ticker clock that starts, when
Nah.
will they start the Super Bowl one?
The week
Okay.
before the Super Bowl.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't
Right
do-
now we get to
It's
we
days
get to,
now, not hours.
right now we get to see who they're projecting for the NBA draft.
Sure, like who cares?
Yeah.
And then what do? Do they send out apologies to guys? Hey, we thought you'd be the number 5 overall pick, but you didn't go until the 22nd, and cost you a few $1 million.
No, I don't think so.
Last night they had a show
Don't believe that.
that actually different people drafted. Okay, now so and so.
Yeah, the mock draft, they did.
But mock draft scrolls across the bottom, which is boring.
No, they have
enough.
a real mock
But
draft.
they had a real
did that
mock
with
draft.
football.
They did it
Yeah,
with
they did with
football.
football,
and
too.
it's
They
it's
just didn't do it with
ridiculous.
baseball.
No,
No.
I don't know. That
No.
would be, But that's what it is. A lot happening in baseball.
Yeah. College World Series.
College World Series is up and running. Oregon State looks good.
They did. They played well yesterday. We're
When you
recording
get
this
walked
on
13,
Tuesday.
when you get walked 13 times, it helps you score some runs.
Yeah, it does. And I didn't think the umpire had a bad zone. I watched most of that game until it got out of hand, and I didn't think he had a bad zone. I just thought she didn't pitch it.
Their relievers, their starter did, and all of a sudden he came out with the little with
arm.
holding the ball and kind of
Yeah, but apparently he'd been hurt. He'd been hurt before.
So
and
why don't you start Poche? That's the most
Well,
important game of the year.
Here's what they did. They pitched him on Saturday in a simulated game. The guy last night.
Yeah,
And-
but Poche's your number 2 guy.
Right, I know. But then he was fine. He said he felt fine. So then that allowed them to have Poche in the first game because the first,
No, Poche didn't throw
Yeah,
the
he did.
first. No, the
he
other
didn't
did.
start. He came
Lang
in
did.
relief. Poche came in relief.
Of
and pitched-
Lang?
Yes, and pitched like 3.5 or 4 innings.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so they burned him on the first day to get to the win.
What did Lang throw?
Like
FSU
4 or
didn't score
5.
that much.
Yeah, I mean he came in and pitched.
So they used Lang and Poche on.
Right. On
Okay,
FSU.
that because I'm wondering. Lang started game 1. Why
Right.
aren't they using Poche in game 2?
And what they were thinking is they get Poche for 3 or 4 innings there. They get this guy to start. If they win, then they're off to Saturday. Now you're Lang and Poche and ready to go in the championship series. So
They blew it.
yeah, well,
They've now got to win.
A whole lot more.
they
They've got to
two.
win 3 games in 4 days.
They got to get back there, so it's going to be hard.
No, they've got to win 3.
Yeah.
They've got to win 3 games in 4 days.
Well, then you got to win 2 more and
and then 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3, and so
No, but I'm just saying,
and
just
then
to
you
get
play-
there.
Then you play every day. It's not a skip a day.
No,
Nope, no gets
it'll be interesting.
So I don't know. What do
And
you
then
say,
tonight,
we're good?
Florida and Louisville. Those are the best 4 teams: Oregon State, LSU, Florida and Louisville, and they were the 4 that won.
Right, and
think.
it could be it's interesting.
FSU's hot.
Well, FSU got a gift yesterday. I don't know if you saw that.
And they gave LSU a gift the day before, or 2
Right.
days before.
But they
I
put
mean,
the ball
LSU
around the ballpark a little bit. But they didn't hit the ball well. They didn't play well that whole game, and they didn't play well
They
yesterday.
had a 2-run homer in the first that should have been enough if they wouldn't have been sitting there playing around.
That wasn't enough. That's not 2 runs and not enough.
No,
last
but they played better than LSU did.
I don't know. I would argue that one. I don't know that they played better than LSU.
A walk and a strikeout
Hey, listen.
gets you.
You
a
know
run.
what? If you don't block the ball, you don't play well. If you're a catcher and you don't block the ball, if you don't catch
Right,
the ball,
but if you
throw
block
to
the ball
second
and the
base,
pitcher doesn't sit there
if you're
instead of
playing
being
in the outfield and you don't catch a ground ball in the outfield
Bingo.
and you don't throw it to the right, that's not playing well.
No.
right,
That's not playing well.
but that's not LSU playing well. That's
No, but
FSU
that's
giving them a gift.
That's FSU playing worse. You said FSU
Correct.
played better than them, and I said no, they didn't because
No, I
they
didn't. I
make a
said
mistake.
LSU got lucky.
No, you didn't. You said FSU.
Okay,
You said FSU played better, and they didn't play better.
Rewind.
We can check it, but you didn't say that. That's what you said, and that's why I said it. They didn't play better. If you make mistakes, you don't play better. Now, you can say they hit the ball better, maybe. but they didn't play better. So
What have you seen? What do you like?
Well, I mean, Faedo was unbelievable Sunday night. I mean, he just was dealing.
yeah, he was.
He has been for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the interesting stat on Faedo that I saw. The Gators have thrown 9 shutouts this inning. I mean, this year.
This year.
Faedo started 6 of them.
That's
Right,
Yeah.
and he
Saved one.
He saved one.
He's getting 7-9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he is unbelievable when he wasn't even. I don't think he had his best stuff.
No.
And the umpire did not help him.
Yeah.
No.
No, the umpire didn't. When that slider, when people are swinging at the pitch, it's 4 feet outside.
Or
that's the
5
good
feet
stuff.
above their head.
That one they were swinging at.
Yeah.
which is
They were.
kinda-
He was running that fastball up at him, and they just could not hold up.
No.
They, the umpire I thought had a bad game that day on both sides.
The first base umpire.
The home plate
home
umpire,
plate
he missed
umpire.
3 or 4 that were right down the middle,
Yep.
belt high, and he calls them balls. You're like, okay, I know you didn't hit the catcher's mitt, but it's not where the mitt is; it's where the ball crosses the plate.
Yep.
So,
And Burns struck out 4 or 5 also, right?
yeah,
Coming in
They
relief.
struck out 15.
they struck out 15. It was a pretty impressive outing. So we'll see what happens tonight. I think it's going to be a good game.
Yep.
They had that one game. Who was it? Wake Forest or was it where they struck out 25?
Uh,
That was the
Bethune?
Faedo. No, the Singer followed by Faedo, followed by Burn, or the other way around because of the rain delays.
Yeah.
Was that,
25
people.
strikeouts.
yeah, and I think they lost that game. Wasn't that the walk-off?
The 11 inning game. Yeah,
That was the
they lost
walk-off
the
when they lost the walk-off.
25.
So we'll see what happens tonight. It's funny to me that everybody's talking about Louisville, and they're the higher seeded team. They're not the lower seeded team. The Gators actually should be favored,
Yeah, yeah.
but everybody is saying
but again-
Louisville's going to win.
But again, I mean, FSU right now is a very low-seeded team, but they've been very hot and they're playing well. I think one of the things, I think the ACC and North Carolina, obviously the national number 2 seed, and they lost in their own regional to Vanderbilt. But the ACC was down this year, and a big reason they were down was FSU wasn't playing baseball for the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah, they
and
kinda
now
didn't.
they're starting to. And now I think what you look at is Louisville's lost 10 games this year. They haven't lost. They've swept through the regional. They swept through the super regional, and only have 10 losses.
So they got beat
have,
twice by FSU in the last weekend of the series, which even allowed FSU to get in and host.
correct.
Right.
You know, but I'm just saying, and up until that time they were, you know, Louisville was supposed to have a great year,
And they did.
and they did.
But they pitched their stud too. I mean, so
Right,
their
well-
number 2 is. The question is, their number 2 as good as Brady Singer.
And then it depends what Brady Singer shows up.
That's right. Who pitches well? I mean, it is all about pitching in Rosenblatt. I don't care what you say. It's about pitching there. I mean, if you
At
can.
TD America.
Oh,
TD
yeah.
America, right.
I still call it Rosenblatt. I'll
Yeah.
call it that forever. Sorry, TD Ameritrade. I don't care. It still should be Rosenblatt Stadium at TD Ameritrade Park or whatever. It should have kept the name.
Not Rosenblatt parking lot at Omaha Zoo.
Probably not. No.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is now.
Yeah, and hey, one thing about that last night, we'll end up doing one whole segment on College World Series, but that'll be okay. Did you notice, and did it bother you what Eddie Perez said last night?
Eduardo, about last night.
Last night.
Well, you tell me what he said, and I'll tell you. I know
Last night-
he kept calling the Gators third base coach Craig Bell. He kept calling him Sully. Sully's holding the guy up. I'm like,
then
look
fin-
and see
Then you
who's.
finally figured that one out. No, last night the Oregon State pitcher is like in the 3rd inning, and they're talking about picking pitches. So they're talking to him about that, of how he got reputation for doing that, and he's telling the story about Pete Rose telling him when he was in the dugout when he was 13,
Right.
talked to him because his dad was a manager, and so
Is
Pete,
that played?
yeah.
I'll tell you something
And
on
Pete-
that in a second.
So he's telling about how he picked pitches and about holding the gloves and all this stuff. So he and Peterson are having this conversation about how to pick pitches from the pitchers, which I don't have a problem with that. That's not. I mean, that's part of the game. If you can pick them, great. If you can get a tell from a pitcher, that's awesome. But then he starts pointing out what the Oregon State pitcher is doing and tipping pitches, and he's saying it live when this guy's the starter. It's only the second time around, and he's talking about whether he holds his glove up a little higher, it's a fastball, and if he tilts his glove, it's a curveball.
So he's bringing out, showing what he had told the audience.
Right, and he's demonstrated that. Okay, texting somebody on Oregon State fans should have been texting their coach.
Exactly.
You don't think the coaches know that just as much as
I don't know that you could pick that up as well as he did. Whether or not they know it is not the point. The point is that he shouldn't be giving that information away
Yeah.
on the air live. You know, if you want to talk about how you tip pitches,
Yeah.
that's fine. If you want to say, you know, sometimes it's where you hold the gloves, but he's pointing out on this pitch right here. See, he moves
He's
the glove up.
confirming that the information he shared is valid.
Right, but you don't need to do that on a live pitcher who still may pitch in the College World Series at least one more time.
Right.
That is giving an advantage to FSU or some other team that plays them along the way that you shouldn't do. You should not do that as an announcer.
But don't you think with all the scouting that they do?
I think
that
I
they
think
don't
if
have an
it's
idea?
out there, if he's doing that, these guys are good enough that every team, every dugout knows it.
Maybe, but you don't. Again,
Look,
Glavin did
this guy is standing in close to the plate, so right now you want to bust him in on the hands.
That's fine.
Why? What's
you're-
the difference?
Because that's a in the moment thing. The batter is one play.
This is
This is
I-
every pitch. This is his tell. If he moves the ball up, he throws a fastball. If he tilts his glove, he throws a
no,
changeup.
you're looking at that level. They're looking. They know it.
If they know it, fine.
Then he changes it around and really bamboozles them.
No,
if he's
what
smart.
what you just don't say is you say this is how you find out if somebody tips a pitch or something by the way they hold the glove. You don't say, take for instance the pitcher who's on the mound right now.
Do you have a problem with that?
I don't. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I don't, because I think that if they have the scouting that which they should have that's already a known.
But
factor.
it might not be a known factor, and not everybody's good enough to pick that up.
Okay.
My point goes to Bob. First time.
Great.
I'm going to start off
I'm
from that.
glad you did. But let me tell you this: if I'm playing,
Oh,
if I'm
you're
playing,
picked up. And it
and
happens.
and especially they won last night. But if they lost, if the kid gives up a 3-run bomb on a
If I-
changeup in the 7th inning, and that's the game winner, I'm finding Eddie Perez after the game, and he and I are going to have a serious
Right,
conversation. if
and
I'm
you know
the
what I'm
coach.
going to tell you? Have them change.
And then the next time the guy's going to wear one in the ear hole. I'm going to tell him, hey, tilt the glove like your changeup
Right.
and throw a fastball in
That's
his ear.
what you do.
That's exactly it.
Baseball's a game of adjustment.
But you should not have to make an adjustment for an announcer in the box. That's my thing. If a guy in the
In
dugout
this
picks
day
it
and-
up,
in this
if
day
the
and
guy in the
age.
dugout picks it up, fine.
But do you think
But not a guy who's on national TV.
We got a rant.
I don't get a rant. It's
Not a
no.
guy on national TV.
Because what you said earlier, if you're a fan, you're texting the coach. Don't you think that when Eddie Perez is up there talking, there aren't people from Oregon State watching? Hey,
Eddie
listen.
Perez was the Braves catcher.
Eduardo
This is
Perez,
Eduardo, but
Perez,
it's okay.
sorry, Eduardo Perez.
Well, he calls him Eddie. He's been calling him Eddie on the whole.
Well,
Tony
that's
Perez's son. So
Yeah.
don't you think that somebody, hey, wait, Eduardo Perez said this? Go down and talk to the coach and tell him. I mean, you don't think they're
But
doing
you
that?
can't change that as a pitcher right then.
No, you can't change.
You can't change that in the middle. I don't care what you say.
No.
If I tell you you're tipping the pitches,
Well, like, I was
you
watching-
can't go up there and change
I was
it.
watching the thing on Koufax one time. I forget who said this, but when Koufax pitched a fastball, his elbow would be here. When he pitched a curveball, his elbow would be here. They still couldn't hit him. I mean, he wasn't going to change.
I'll tell you what was interesting, and I remember talking to Eduardo back when his father was with the Marlins, and even when I interned with the Reds, and Eduardo was finishing at FSU, getting ready to report right after being selected by the Angels in the draft, and he was getting ready to go to Arizona. And after he finished at FSU, his last high school game, by the way,
His last college game against
his last
Florida. They
college
got beat.
game, Mark Valdez shut him out.
In College
and
World
then,
Series.
and then he wound up coming down to spring training, where the Reds were at and everything like that.
You
And it
mean
might have been the following year. He had already been 1 year after being drafted and whatever. And we're in Plant City, and he actually worked out with the Reds before reporting to Arizona. Okay, but one of those times. But Eduardo, I've gotten to know pretty well over the years and everything like that. And he was telling me about those times under the bleachers at Riverfront, and they would play stickball and everything like that down there. And he was talking a little bit about it. And to have been in those little stickball games, okay. And I'm saying Eduardo Perez, you got Ken Griffey Jr., you got Brian McRae, you got Pete Rose Jr., you had, I mean, all these kids.
Yeah.
It's amazing the caliber of players that were down there that he played, and he told me, and I'm forgetting somebody big and whatnot, but all these future major leaguers just down there. They were the kids. They were the Big Red Machine's kids.
Yeah, exactly. No, you know, so
Which was,
as a fan, I was like, okay, that's interesting. As a guy who knows baseball and has played, I would have been furious if I'd have
Lee
been
May Jr. played in the big leagues.
been there. Hey, we're out of time.
Hey, we're
We'll be
coming back, and we'll play around next time, next session with something new. We're going to try see if you guys like it.
All right, we'll be right back. Bye.